Oh, an error occurred. All right. It's working this time. I think, I believe, I hope. We are live on Facebook. So if there's anyone already in the event watching us, welcome. Hello. And if you could drop us a line to let us know if you can see us, that would be fantastic. You know, just that little confirmation at the beginning that it's going through. All right. So welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. And thank you for joining us live today. And if you can't join us live, no worry. Even if you can't stay the whole event, there will be a replay available. So my name is Sophie Van Tigelen. I'm an online course expert and I help established professionals build successful online courses with my Self from the Start method. So my guest today is Claire Shelley. Claire is a Facebook ads expert and she's joining us all the way from the south of England. Hello, Claire. How are you?
Hi. I'm great. Thanks for having me, Sophie.
You're very welcome. So I have to confess that I selected today's training topic for very selfish reasons. I would like to use Facebook ads in my business next year in 2024 to grow my audience, boost my online course sales. But I have no idea. Despite the fact that I have taken several courses in the past, I still have no idea where to start. Even if I'm ready, am I ready to start running ads? How much should I invest? How much is enough? And also which ads to run. So in fact, I know enough to know that I shouldn't be running ads by myself. I need some professional expertise and guidance, and that's where you come in, Claire. And I know that many in the audience feel the same. They really would like to leverage Facebook ads, but they have no idea how to do it without exploding their budget.
Yeah, and so many great questions there, Sophie, and I feel like I'm well positioned to be able to help you. I work purely with coaches and course creators, helping them to use ads to scale their business and sell more of their courses and their programs. And the strategies that I specialize in are purely for the coaching space, and ads. You can use advertising for many different reasons in the e-commerce space, and for selling multiple products. But in the coaching space, it's quite a different strategy and quite a different approach to using ads. And there is quite a lot of groundwork to do in terms of getting yourself ready and prepared for using ads. And it quite often happens that I chat with people and they say, oh, I've used ads and they haven't worked, and they're at a loss to know as to why. So
Right.
so I hope that today we can go through a few ideas and explanations around how to get set up and what are the things you need in place before you even start running ads, because there is a process.
Yeah. So all this is music to my ears. First one, that you're going to talk about what is right and what you recommend specifically for coaches and service providers. So that's great. That's what I am. That's what my audience is. And then second, that you are going to walk us through actually, that's my first question. How do I know that I'm ready to start running ads and that I'm not going to just throw money away?
Yeah, great question. And this is so important. And I'm so glad you've asked, because a lot of the time people will get a course together or a program or something that they are passionate about, and they put a lot of time and energy into putting this course together, and they try to sell it with ads and it falls flat, and they don't get any sales via their ads. And there can be a number of different reasons as to why that happens. But the main and most important thing to bear in mind is that ads are no different to organic marketing. They're simply amplifying what you already have with your organic marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So the best advice I can give to anyone in this space is, if you have a great idea for something and if you want to sell something, to always test it organically first. It's so important to do that, because with organic marketing, yes, it's taking your time and it requires a bit of effort on your behalf, but you learn so much with organic marketing. You learn your messaging, exactly, by posting on social media, you get so much feedback. And until you have learned how to position yourself, get your messaging really dialed in, and to consistently get leads and sales organically via social media and via email lists, all the great organic methods and approaches, ads probably aren't the right avenue to go down just yet, because
I heard this before, that Facebook ads will not fix a bad landing page, a bad sales page. Facebook ads will not fix a bad messaging. So that's something to know. It's going to amplify actually your problems, your mistakes.
Exactly that, Sophie, and that's all they're doing, is they're amplifying the message that you've already got. And if the message that you already have isn't quite right and isn't talking to your ideal clients, then it's not going to fix the problem. And so just because you're not getting sales, it doesn't necessarily mean you need more people to see your your posts, or to see your sales page. And that's a common misconception. It's, people think, well, I just need more people to see what I'm doing. And yet sometimes it comes down to, well, when people are coming to your page and they're looking at your sales page, it's not resonating with them, or it's not quite explaining to them how it can help them and how it can solve their problems. And so often it comes down to the messaging. It's the messaging that you're using within your social media posts and on your landing pages and your sales pages. So yeah, absolutely.
All right. So what I hear is that if you have a program, if you are launching a program, a course, a coaching offer, a group offer, run it first organically without ads and see if you can make sales. If you can make sales, then you go to the next step.
Yes, exactly. Exactly that. And I think another step that people not necessarily overlook, but maybe don't realize is so important, is audience growth and having a big enough audience. And because you could have a really great course and you could have positioned it perfectly, but you just don't have enough people that know about you to be able to sell it in volume. And so the thing that I always try to sort of get people to understand and work on consistently is audience growth all the time. Even if you're not selling, even if you're not in the position where you're ready to launch, always be growing your audience, because it's the difference between having a room full of 30 people and saying to 30 people in the room, I've got this great thing, do you want to buy it? Maybe you get lucky and one or two might buy. But then if you had a room full of 30,000 people, you're much more likely to, to get a few more people raising their hands saying, yeah, this is great, this is exactly what I need. Because even when you have an audience, not everybody in that audience is going to be at the right point, and it's not going to be the right time for them to buy your service or your course. So audience
growth. Do you have some numbers like in mind? Can you give us some numbers?
It's a great question. It really depends. So if you had an audience, a relatively small audience, if you knew them well, as in you'd spent some time nurturing them already and they were in tune with what you were selling, and you were really dialed into sort of providing courses or programs that matched their problems, then you could make a good few sales that way, even with a small audience. But obviously, the more people the more people who are aware of you, the better, because then that just it increases the possibility of you selling more. So the key is to have an audience and to nurture them and to keep them warm and keep them aware of what you're doing.
Yeah, that's something that I tell my online course students when they get into my bootcamp to build their course. It's something you should be doing on repeat all year long. even when you're not launching, is growing your audience, growing your email list. Because then those people are the people to whom you are going to sell once your program is ready.
Yeah, exactly. And that's great advice. And definitely always be, even if you're doing it just organically to start with, always be connecting with new people, engaging with people on social media. If you've got an email list, keep that list, keep providing valuable information and tips for these people, because then you're always going to be top of mind for them. And then when the time's right to launch, then you'll be the first person they think of, I need to build a course, Sophie, I'm going to, get in touch. Mm-hmm. It's worth the effort. And the great thing about using ads is that you can grow your audience organically, but ads can also come in to help you to grow your audience more quickly. So they can do a lot of the work in the background. So for example, if you have a Facebook business page. I want to talk about Facebook business pages because I'm sure if you're watching and you have a Facebook business page, the reach is just awful. And it's so hard and frustrating to get any reach with a Facebook business page at the moment. And so for example, you could use ads to grow your business page, and use a video where you're explaining about what you do, or about a technique that you use, or about how one of your clients has had some great results, and use a video ad to reach more people, and then they might be engaged with that, and then they might come and follow you on your page. So there's lots of great strategies that you can use with ads to speed up your audience growth and brand awareness.
We'll get back to this, like the different types of ads that one can run. So far you gave us two criteria. Like the first one, run your offer organically first. And then the second one, you want to make sure that you have a big enough audience that is engaged. Is there more to this that we should be to prepare us to run ads?
I would say so, yes, definitely both of those things. And then one additional thing that you ideally need to have in place would be a funnel of some description. So a sales funnel that will help to bring people into your world and help start to nurture them. So, and this is something that I do a lot with ads, is using lead magnets. So, and the reason that a lot of the time with coaches, course creators, service providers, one of the reasons that we're trying to build this audience is that initially we're not selling to people. We're actively trying to build relationships with people. And when you're selling a course that's worth maybe $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever the price point is, you can't expect to get in front of somebody with an ad and say, "Hi, here's my course that's worth that many $1,000. Do you want to buy it?" That's
a big leap. That's a big ask,
isn't it? It's not an impulse buy. It's not like you see an advert for a t-shirt that's $10. Fine, great, I love it, I'm going to buy it. You need the time, you need to build the trust, you need to really sort of be familiar with this person and get to know them, and are they the right person for you to invest that kind of money. Really the audience building is because there is that long lead time for coaches and course creators. We want to make sure that people are aware of us and that we're building that relationship, and it can take in months sometimes, and maybe even years. People might know us for that long before they actively invest with us. So the idea of using something like a lead magnet, so a valuable free piece of information that you share with your audience, you're using an ad to entice them to find out more about it. So whatever you might be sharing. So you might have a checklist of the things that you need to do before you start creating your course. And someone sees this, they love it, they download it, and then the person's added to your email list, and then they're in your world, they're in your space, and so then you're starting to nurture them with emails, and then directing them to other bits of valuable information you might have within your business, maybe a blog post or a video that you want them to watch, and that's where the relationship building sort of comes in, and where we can start to nurture these leads.
Excellent. All right. Yeah, this is great. Very informative. So now I have another question for you. So I'm mainly on LinkedIn. Can I run Facebook ads? Because I'm not as active on Facebook as I am on LinkedIn. So can I do this?
Yeah, absolutely you can. And I get this question asked quite a bit, actually. It's so I guess as a business, we're appearing in lots of different places. So we're on LinkedIn. We might have a Twitter platform. We might be on Facebook. We might be on Instagram. So we're covering a lot of platforms. If you are active on LinkedIn, but you're not so active on Facebook, for example, it's not a flat no, you can't run Facebook ads. What I would say is that all of the areas that you appear online make up part of your marketing ecosystem. So you have like this sort of bigger picture to look at when it comes to marketing. So if you said to me, Claire, I want to run Facebook ads, but I'm just not active on my Facebook page, I would say, well, imagine we're starting to run ads and people are then starting to check out your Facebook business page. If it's an unloved, unupdated page, it doesn't give a great first impression. So ideally, in an ideal world, I would say, yes, please post on your Facebook page at least once or twice a week at the minimum, because at least then anyone landing on your page, if they come via an ad, they're going to see that you are active, you haven't gone out of business, because that's
a sign of life.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing. I think sometimes you go to somebody's profile, if there's not been any activity there for a couple of years, you might think, oh well, are they still in business? It just it gives that impression, doesn't it? So because you want to make a good first impression with new people who are coming into your world, I would say to at minimum, be posting once or twice a week, and you can cross-purpose your posts. If you're posting on LinkedIn regularly, why not take that post and just pop it on your Facebook
Exactly.
page?
That's what I'm doing now, since you advised me to do this, and I just put them right there, so it's not much more work for me. And it does, gives the message, hey, there's someone here in the house. So now you said posting once or twice a week. And then how long do you have to do this in order to kind of prime yourself up before you start running ads on Facebook?
I guess it really is. There's no sort of set time, I would say, that you have to post for before you start running ads. So long as you have some activity there, that's great. There's no sort of set time to be posting. Just so long as your page is up to date, that's good, and then you can start. And it's the same with Instagram. And this is a question that I quite often get asked: is I'm running Facebook ads, but what about Instagram? If I run ads on Instagram, is that additional cost? But the way it works is that the Facebook or Meta have the ads dashboard, so Ads Manager, and within Ads Manager, you're feeding your ads out to both Facebook and Instagram at the same time, and it's all within the same budget. So it's really great in the early days of running an ad campaign to run your ads to both platforms and see how they perform, and then make a decision on, do I continue with Instagram or Facebook, and or is one or the other really standing out in terms of getting results.
All right. Okay. So now let's talk money.
Okay.
Right. So how much are we going to have to invest just even to get started? Because I imagine there is a minimum investment that you want to do or make every day in ad spend in order to get some results. And how long does it take to get results?
Yeah, really great questions, and probably the cost one is my most asked question, with good reason. So With ads, it really depends on what you're trying to achieve with ads. So what is your end goal? Are you trying to grow your email list? Are you doing a massive launch where you want to reach as many people as possible in the shortest time possible? What is it that you want to achieve? That will determine your budget. If you take the example of you want to grow your email list, I would recommend a minimum of $10 a day. And that gives Facebook enough juice to be getting data in, because and especially if you've never run ads before, in the early days of running an ad campaign, you are gathering data essentially. And so the data that comes in takes a while if you're using a small budget. And so until we have enough data in, we can't make any decisions on how our ads are performing. So for example, if you're split testing 2 ads, you would need a certain number of impressions on those ads to say, okay, one is doing better than the other. And so using a minimum of £10 a day gives you enough momentum then to be able to make decisions fairly quickly rather than it taking forever. So if you have more budget than that, great. You could spend £20-30 a day. It would just make the process quicker of learning what's working, what's not working.
We have a question that I would like to ask you directly, because I noticed that also. Is it $10 or £10? Because I think that £10 is around $15, right?
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, either. I would say either $10 a day or £10 a day, wherever you are.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So it's doable.
Yes. And I think that's something that if you were to do a launch, say, for example, you were using the webinar method. So you're using a webinar to then launch your course. In that instance, I would say £10 a day is not going to be enough. You would need a significantly bigger budget to do that. But I wouldn't necessarily go straight in with a launch anyway. And the reason being is that by going through the process of growing your audience with ads, doing list building, growing your Facebook page, your Instagram profile, all of those campaigns are giving us data. They're building in information for us that tells us who is your ideal audience, what kind of copy resonates with your audience, what kind of images do they love, what are the things that really make your ad campaign stand out and perform to its optimum. Once you've done that, you can then take your best performing audiences, ads, copy, etc., and then you can use that in a launch, and you can be reassured that you're not guessing. You've got hard evidence there. You've got data to say this is what works for my business, and therefore your investment is considered, and you know that you're having a really good chance at getting optimum results.
So you mentioned webinars. I do push webinars and I use them to promote my courses. So you said it's going to be more expensive than just simply getting people on your email list or people to go and download your lead magnet. How much are we talking about?
Sure. And until you run ads, it's really difficult to say. It's because for many different reasons. So there are lots of different variables. It depends on the industry you're in. It depends on your ad account. Is your ad account new, or does it already have existing data because you've run ads? There are lots of different variables that will change the outcome and the answer. So what I would say is, by running some lead gen ads or doing something that gives you a rough idea of what your cost per lead is going to be, would be helpful. It's not going to give you the ultimate answer what your webinar cost per lead is going to be, but it gives you a steer, a rough idea. And until you've run those webinar ads and you know, okay, well, it's going to cost me £5 or $5 to get somebody signed up to my webinar, I can't say to you, this is going to be your budget for running a webinar launch. As a very ballpark figure, if you were to say, right, okay, at the end of this launch, I want to make $15,000, I would say you would need 10% of that in ad spend as a real rough ballpark.
Right. Okay. That's very helpful. So what I hear also is don't wait until the last minute, right before your launch, to start running ads. You want to prime your account. You want to
Absolutely.
warm up the algorithm and teach, or let Facebook learn about your audience and what works for you.
That is exactly it, Sophie. And there are so many great things that you can do if you're doing this groundwork before you do anything big, because using ads, you are growing additional audiences. So the way the platform works is that you can dial in different demographics and interests for people. So you could build a cold audience, and it could be made up of the things that you know that the people that your clients like, based on their interests and demographics, etc. But if you're also running video ads, for example, you can then start to retarget the people who have watched a certain percentage of your video, which is starting to get really, really clever and really powerful, because it's, especially in this space, in the coaching environment, and the fact that we're selling higher value products and services, we're much more likely to get conversions and sales if we're retargeting people who are warm and already aware of us and already know us. So using retargeting ads is a really great strategy. Not only that, because when we are selling something, people need constant reminders. You know, they might see something, they might see a post, they might see an ad, but they'll need constant sort of reminders and nudges before potentially they'll take action. So one thing, if you're considering running ads, is important to get in place is your Facebook pixel. I won't go into too much detail on the tech, but if you've not heard of the Facebook pixel, it's a tiny bit of code, and the code goes on, for example, your website or any page you're using. Could be a landing page, could be a sales page somewhere. And the pixel enables us to track people who are visiting that page. Now, it's not tracking you as in it knows that you're Sophie and it knows that you live at such and such, you know, address or whatever. You know, it's hashed data, but the pixel will be able then to track that user's progress around your website, or the actions they're taking, if they're downloading something, or if they're buying something, or if they're looking at a certain page, if they're watching, you know, just that it's enabling us then to use that information to retarget people. So the people that are engaged with our business, which gives us, as I say, a higher chance of getting conversions and sales.
All right. So going back to my show notes here, I know that we wanted to talk about 3 different ads, like the ones that you use to grow your audience. And we mentioned this, the one that you run to promote your webinars. Can you tell me a little bit more about this? How would that look like? How would a campaign to promote a webinar look like?
Yeah, sure. So if we were running a webinar campaign, I would probably use, as I mentioned earlier, the interest-based audience. So I might build a couple of interest-based audiences. So if you know, for example, the people that you work with are small business owners, they live in the US, they're a rough age between 35 and 65, you know, you dial in all of that information to create your cold audience. You could also create an audience based on your email list. So if you have an email list, you can upload that to Facebook.
That's why it's important to grow your email list.
Another great reason to have a list. Yeah. So Facebook will take your email list, it will look at it, it will then match the people who are on your email list and say, okay, I'm going to find a load of people who closely match the people on that email list, because they're likely to be interested also in what you do. You could have an audience of people that's called a lookalike audience, and that is another cold audience. So you build out lots of cold audiences, and you'd be going to reach cold people for a webinar audience because you want new people into your business. And this is something that people find is that they are successfully selling something, but they feel like they've exhausted their existing organic audience, and they want to reach further, and they want to bring new people into their world. And that's, you know, something that we should be doing all the time, is bringing new people into our world. And so by using lots of cold audiences with your webinar ads, you're doing that. And not only are you inviting them to your webinar, they're going to find out more about you and what you do. You're then also able to add them to your email list. So it's kind of a double win. But yeah, so generally speaking, for a webinar, I would have probably about 10 to 14 day lead in as well. So you would start running the ads 10 to 14 days before the webinar takes place. So webinar or launch ads are quite fast, quite intense, but they bring great results. And, you know, some of my clients have you know, had organically 40 people turn up to a webinar when they've been promoting it on social media. Bring ads into the equation, and it's more like 500 people.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't even know if my Zoom account can
you may have to upgrade.
Yes. All right. So that sounds wonderful. So the third type of ads I wanted to touch upon today was the type of ads where you directly promote your sales page. Is that even a thing? And how would that happen?
Yeah, so for the majority of the time, I would say that ad activity is based around audience growth and non-promotional activities. But if you're in a launch and you've gone through the process of using ads to get people into a webinar, the next step will be a week of selling your course. And therefore, within that time, it makes sense to make use of the warm audiences that you have already built up. And you can quite rightly promote your sales page for the course to those warm audiences, because they're people who have been to your webinar. They're people who have engaged with your business in some way and are likely to be interested in what it is that you're promoting. So you can absolutely use your ads to promote your sales page for your course. And then a really great feature, I love doing this, is when if you you've reached somebody with an ad saying, here's my sales page, this is the course I'm selling, and if they don't buy, you can then retarget them again and use testimonial. So you can have one of your really happy clients or customers saying, I've attended this course, it was amazing, and just giving some feedback, and just it helps then to build the trust a bit more, and you know, potentially help people over the line in terms of making that purchase.
All right. Okay, so we are coming to the end of this event. We are already like a few minutes over the time. Sorry for everyone watching if you are, you know, you have a hard stop. But so what I'm hearing also is that there are many options, and you don't start planning or you don't start running ads without first having a strategy. Which ads are we going to use, when, targeting what audience, and what are we going to say to them, and which graphics are we going to choose? And so I recommend my audience, if you feel like you are ready and that you want to use Facebook ads for next year, is really to reach out to an expert like you, Claire. Otherwise, it's really overwhelming. And to get started months in advance. If you have a launch coming, get started, 6 months in advance, so that you have all your ducks in a row.
Yeah, exactly that. It just, it just gives you much better opportunity to get the results that you want. Essentially, Facebook is a learning machine, and it needs time to learn, and it needs time to figure out who your ideal clients and customers are. And we need time to figure out what resonates and which ads are working better than others. And all of that testing is, takes time, and it pays to do that groundwork, so that then you have a really great chance of getting great results further down the line. And the more advertising you do, the better your results become, because Facebook gets really good then at the ads will be optimized, and it just things just work really well once it's done that learning. It's then dialed in and it just goes. It's great.
All right. Well, that is very encouraging. So I would like to ask the audience if you have any questions. You can drop them in the comments and we'll address them right now before we close this training. So in the meantime, Claire, would you have some parting words for us, some words of wisdom?
Great question. I guess my parting advice would be that it is really important to be building your audience and to be building your email list if you are, creating courses and programs. And that's something that, even if you're not running ads, just keep doing that. Just keep trying to promote lead magnets or grow your Facebook group, or all of those activities will really pay dividends in the long run, because there is a long lead-in period for higher value products. So just keep growing audiences would be my message, and especially your email list.
All right, thank you. So I don't see any more questions from our audience. So before we leave, I would like to ask you, where can people find you if they have more questions, Claire?
Sure. So I'm on LinkedIn a lot, so please feel free to come and connect with me. Would love to chat with you on LinkedIn, or of course Facebook or Instagram. I'm on both platforms. So just come and connect with me. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today, Claire.
Pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, Sophie.
All right. Bye, everyone.